All right. Woo, woo! We got another recording today. How's it going, Anne-Claire?
I'm good. I'm excited. I feel like we're on a roll, and that's just like boosting me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I have another song that just popped in my head.
Okay.
Rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Roll. Do you know that song?
Yes, I do, but I am not going to join you in singing it.
Oh, your face just now is like, mm-hmm.
I do not have singing skills. Absolutely not. I have excellent rhythm, but I have been told over and over again that I cannot sing in tune. And so I'm just not going to make other people suffer and listen to me sing. That's fine. I will take it. It's totally fine. They will just listen to me blabbing instead.
This is a safe space, Anne-Claire. You are allowed to sing out of tune. It is welcomed. It is
I will.
authentic.
Someday I will do it, just not today.
Wow. Okay, fine. We'll see. But I respect your decision to not sing today. It's okay.
Thank you.
All right, let's do this. Today we're talking about how to improve your body image, and we have 5 tips for you to do this, which we're really excited about. We are pumped.
We are. And before we dive into the tips, I do want to have like a quick word on what we mean by body image, right? Because it's a word that we use a lot. And then sometimes it's kind of like, but what are we talking about? Because I find this word kind of confusing to an extent because it's called body image. And it sounds like we're just talking about, the stuff that goes in our eyeballs, just what we see. And there's just so much more to body image. And so I just wanted to quickly, especially if you listening to us have never really had a conversation about body image and what that means and what healing your body image could look like, I just want you to know that there are different pieces really to the concept of body image. There is, yes, what you see, what you perceive, right? So anything that has to do with basically what is going through your eyeballs and the potential filters applied to what you're seeing, right? But then there's also your attitude towards everything that you see. And by attitude, we mean the meanings that you attach to what you see, both in thought and in feelings, right? So let's say you see something, then you're going to attach a meaning to it. This is good. This is bad. I hate it. I like it, etc. Like your attitude that you attach to what you see is part of your body image. And finally, a piece that often people do not realize is part of body image is your behavior. Like the entire bucket of actions, right, that relate to how you are in relationship with your body is part of what we call body image because it directly impacts actually your feelings, your thoughts, and how you perceive your body, right? So when we talk about these actions, please know that even though not all of them address your eyeballs, they're still absolutely part of how to improve your body image, aka your body experience. The quality of your relationship with your body will be improved because we are addressing one or several of these categories. Did I make sense, Meg?
Yes, that was a really awesome summary. I'm finding this I know this is going to be so helpful already. So I appreciate that. And I think you're right. All of the tips here relate to one of those categories that you just explained. So I'm going to dive into the first one, which is, this one sounds obvious, but I'm going to say it is imperative to helping you feel better in your body and protecting you from potential triggers. And that is wear comfortable clothes. Okay. So if you are trying to squish into jeans that don't feel comfy for you, or if you're wearing shirts that you don't feel like you feel the best in because they cling too tight or whatever that might be, that actually could trigger negative body thoughts, which trigger negative body emotions. And then it could also cause you to engage in behaviors that are related to negative body image. So wearing comfortable clothes is like this little protective way for you to navigate the world with a little bit less chance for triggers, right? And so I find it's also just helpful for the soul, during this difficult time in your life to honor the need to be cozy and comfortable and, yeah, just feel good in your own skin. Anne-Claire, what do you want to add? Is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you said. Honestly, it's just one of those things. Like, I just don't want my clothes to provide feedback constantly on my body because it just steals my attention away, right? And when we're doing recovery, we're really trying to move away from this hyper awareness, right? And this hyper attention that we give to our body. And we're trying to connect to this greater picture called life, right? And if your clothes bring your attention back constantly to the fact that you have a human, body and that you might have a part of your, mind that has strong opinions about it, that's just not going to help you out. Right. So we're just being really realistic here. And by the way, in recovery, even more so, right? Like today, still don't like my clothes providing me feedback, but because I have shifted my belief systems internally, and also, to be fair, I live in a socially acceptable body, I can wear sometimes slightly like tighter clothes without them sort of feeling triggering because I don't sort of opt in those old belief systems. And so it's not an issue anymore. But there were years of my life where I really had to simply protect myself by opting in extra comfy clothing in as many situations as possible. And that's okay, right? So maybe give yourself a temporary permission to be extra comfy if you find that you're feeling a bit uncomfortable about this, like, yeah, but I like it enough because sometimes there are occasions, fine. How about we're talking regular days only, okay? In case that lowers the barriers to the commitment to this action.
And I also want to say here, if you're in the stage of recovery where your body might be changing, this is also extra helpful because this could, if you are not wearing comfy clothes, it can actually lead to number 2, which is body checking. So a lot of people use these tight clothes as a form of body checking and kind of monitoring the changes that are going on. And if they feel like that pair of pants isn't like buttoning as well as it used to or as easily as it used to, that is going to potentially be a trigger. So referring back to number 1, wear comfy clothes for all the reasons we just shared. If you're in the place where your body is changing, it is also extra important to honor this need for allowing your body to take up space in different ways, and that hopefully you're not as hyper focused on those changes or hyper aware. That's what these clothing choices do. So number 2, stop body checking. And you might be like, what is body checking? This is the first time I've ever heard of it. It is essentially a little recovery or a little eating disorder behavior. It's a kind of a sneaky one, but it's when you're constantly assessing your body and how it looks and feels. So you're checking by weighing yourself consistently, using the mirror excessively, taking multiple photos of yourself. All of this keeps your attention on your body and away from life. And it usually triggers an intense emotional reaction and is a cognitive distraction as well.
Oh, yeah. Could not agree more. Cannot add anything to that. That was perfect.
Yes. Stop body checking. All right. Do you want to give them number 3?
Sure. Step 3 is review your social media feeds. And this is the one where we're really addressing what goes through your eyeballs and what you're actually quite literally feeding your brain. Your perception is directly influenced by the average image that is being fed to your brain. So if you are constantly seeing highly curated, photoshopped bodies, you're only watching, anything that is on TV or Netflix and bodies that are in magazines, there's a very good chance you're not seeing real body diversity. You're not even seeing real bodies, really, because they're probably all photoshopped. So please get very real about your social media feed and start adding to that, right? So actually, two things. One, look at your social media feed. And if you realize that you have strong reactions, like emotional or self-critical reactions to someone's posts, mute, unfollow, something like that. Two, add to your feed, add diversity, add color, abilities, genders, expressions, everything to that feed. I promise it will help the way that you perceive yourself and your body, because the reference point that is imprinted on your brain will have shifted in time instead of having a brain that is just repeatedly fed what I'm going to call this white, skinny, fit, quote unquote, body that I'm pretty sure is just not helpful for you at this point.
Yes, I'm thinking of the phrase normalize normal bodies, right? You can start doing that by using your social media feed as a tool to heal your body image instead of a detriment to your body image. So that is something I'm so glad we brought up, because honestly, we do hear about this suggestion a lot, but I want everyone listening or watching right now to pause and actually go through some of the people you follow right now and unfollow the unhelpful ones. We hear it, but have you changed it? Have you taken the action? That is the question. So on that note, we're talking about social media. Number 4 is related because we're talking about life. So we're taking it away from the screen and into the real world. So we want you to question who you spend time with. And they say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I like to say you're the average of everyone you're spending time with. And so in this case, if you are in a community where body talk or diet talk or obsession with food is at the center, I want you to question whether or not that is helpful for you right now and try to seek spaces that are not focused on those things. I remember I can think of so many environments that weren't helpful. I was part of a sorority. I was a lifeguard and we were all wearing bathing suits all the time. We were always talking about our food at lunch breaks. Like there are so many spaces when I had my eating disorder that weren't necessarily helpful. And it would have been nice to break away from those to get a view of the world that isn't so tinted by diet culture.
For sure. And it's not always easy, right? Because I can remember sort of being at work and having, people at lunchtime talking about their latest diets and whatnot. And, obviously, I mean, in my case at the time, I couldn't exactly just be like, I'm quitting. But I could still sort of approach that in a way that I would set boundaries in terms of who I was spending time with at lunchtime or who I was going to sit next to if we were having a work lunch together, or how much time I would spend in the kitchen having a coffee with certain people, right? That is also one way to do it, right? It's not always a black or white approach here. It's not just like, oh, I have to say goodbye to all of my friend groups because unfortunately diet talk is very normalized. No. Maybe there is like a certain degree here of change that could make sense. How you're meeting them, when you're meeting them, who is part of the group when you're meeting. And, again, consider here boundary setting as well as part of who am I spending time with and how I'm spending time with them. The boundaries will be for another day.
All of these steps, by the way, are so protective, right? I think a lot of healing body image is being able to set those boundaries within yourself and within the world around you. But let's bring it home to number 5. Do you want to share this one, Anne-Claire?
Sure. I mean, step number 5 is really about challenging the standards of beauty that you might have been taught, and to an extent, cultivating a certain degree of anger at diet culture and systems of oppression that have made you believe that there is such a thing as a hierarchy of bodies and bodies that are more worthy and that hold more power, etc. Now, just to be extra clear, I am not saying that you challenging that is going to change the entire world, right? That is not what I'm suggesting. However, at your individual level, you can start learning more about these systems, right? And about where these standards come from and how someone is benefiting from these standards existing. And by benefiting, I mean people stay in power. You are focused on your body instead of being focused on your rights. Like you are spending money on certain products and instead of investing in your future, for example, right? Like that's what I'm talking about. And there's that thing where cultivating that anger can help you set those boundaries with your eating disorder when your eating disorder is using that to fuel and justify behaviors. So that's step number 5.
I love that. Get mad at the systems. Don't get mad at yourself, right? Very, very helpful. All right. So there you have it, folks. 5 ways on how to improve your body image. Again, we're always curious to know your thoughts on this video. So please let us know and just say hi in the comments. We want to know you're watching. And Claire, it was so great to chat with you again.
It's nice talking to you too, Meg. Thank you. You're awesome.
Thank you. You're awesome too. And everyone watching, we all think you're awesome. Thank you. Mwah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.